So y'all kind of heard my name a few times, and I'll say again, I'm Sean. I'm the sales manager there at the Arkansas branch, and I want to start off by saying, like, I'm going to use my story and talk a lot about myself and what I did, and it's 100% not because I want it to be about me. Like, I fully believe that everybody in this circle's story is somebody else's survival guide, right? There are some key moments and key things that I did that changed my life forever, good and bad, you know. So I had some really good success in the Army, y'all. I was, a valedictorian, distinguished honor graduate, high academic, all that good stuff in my AITs. And then all of a sudden, throughout this whole time, I've had this same relationship with a girl. We had 2 little girls together. We weren't married. She made it through all the craziness, the going to AITs and all my wildness as growing up as a kid. She made it through all that, and one day I came home from work and her and my kids and all of her shit, our shit was gone. And I had a badass childhood, y'all, and I mean that to say I'd never lost anything really, right? We lost football games and we lost boxing matches, but I'd never lost anything significant in my life that I was wholesome around, and so that was a moment for me that I can't describe that feeling, and I'm sure that there are plenty of people in here that understand that. But that feeling, I'd never felt depression. I'd never understood what being sad really was. And everything that you could possibly want that's bad for you is easily accessible at a nightclub, and so I was offered something one night while I was working, and I think that had it been anything in life that I thought may help what I was feeling, I would have done it. Unfortunately, it was a very addictive drug. Fortunately, it wasn't heroin or anything like that could have took my life right then. But it ended up taking my life from me, just not my ability to breathe, right? She met this guy shortly after that, and I had only been high for a couple weeks, and I was still big, but I hadn't been asleep for a few days. I was psychotic, I was mad, and I got wind of this dude, and my first, response to that was just don't let him meet my kids until I meet him first, and which is a super prideful, egotistical, you think you have that right, but you fucking don't. You can't control her and what she does and who she has around. You just can't. It's not how life works, right? But I thought I could. The next day I see a Facebook post and my little girls are in his lap, and y'all, let me tell you something about meth. It does something different to you, man. And so in my mind, I had decided what I was going to do, and the decision was something that I could never fathom doing right now, And now he's blind and can't see nothing ever since that day. And I've never told anybody in this circle this. So it's one of those things that I can't ever make an amends to that. You know what I mean? That's something that when you clean up and you realize what you've fucking done, what you did to this dude, he didn't deserve that. He never did nothing wrong to her or my kids. I just went crazy, And so now, for 42 months, she didn't look me in the eyes. She didn't speak a word to me, and I didn't see my girls either. From that point on, I wouldn't have given my kids to me either. You know what I mean? I just tried to beat a dude to death. And so I get arrested. I go through this program, which is a great program taught by people just like us, and graduated, ended up starting to change my life. I didn't trust myself to go home yet because addiction will sneak up on you at any given time. And so I go to a chem-free house, and then I rehab, and I graduate that and go to a chem-free house, which is where I ran into Cornerstone. So I start with Cornerstone and a life-changing interview from Walker, where he told me that, the first thing that I said was trying to rattle off all these felony charges, and he was like, dude, I don't care. I don't care who you used to be. I care who you are now. That's the person we're talking to. And it was the first time in my life that I had heard somebody that's never done anything like that say something that made me feel important of who I was today, right? And so I've given Cornerstone every fucking thing I got since then. And it's been very, very, very difficult, right? Because up until 6 weeks ago, I still had not seen my girls, right? And so I quickly become the top salesman of the company pretty quickly. And it's not I'm not saying that as a boastful, stance. I'm saying that is the whole reason that this all happened in my life is because somebody that never had this addiction problem are the ones that give the opportunity, right? And that opportunity is what most addicts need in order to change. Okay, that's the stance and the reason that I give what I give to Cornerstone isn't just because I want to be your top rep and make all this money and have a cool truck. Like, that's not really what it's about. It's I work the way that I work for Cornerstone because the opportunity was given and they didn't have to. And if you'll see that scar right there, that happened back in March. Everything's going great. I made $100,000 in the month of February. And March 17th, I T-boned a car, fly over that car, and then had a head-on collision with my body in an F-150. Okay, at 40 miles an hour, they were going 40. And I don't know if inertia is all the way real, but that equals 80, and I don't remember a moment of it. Okay, I don't remember a moment of it. I was in a coma for a while, and I had 13 surgeries. I could rattle off everything, but it would take a while. I got a full titanium rib cage, chest plate, ribs on the left, but then I almost lost my liver. Right? I wake up to not knowing where I'm at, what's going on, and as I leave the hospital, I've got an expiration date walking out. Okay, and that moment was when I realized that the people, when they say you never know when it's over, you never know, man. You don't know. And at that moment, when I was walking to that hospital, I realized that if I was to have died in that car wreck, or in that motorcycle wreck, like, my kids would have nothing to even, my daughters would have never seen me again. I was fighting, I was saying that, but I believed for sure that I was gone. I was walking at about 150 pounds, probably 100, maybe a little smaller than that. I had 5 or 6 tubes hanging out of me that was draining everything I possibly could eat out into a bag, because if not, my liver was going to poison me to death. And I was gone, y'all. 8 weeks later, I'm at the doctor appointment. Brad's fixing to get tested to see if he's a match. Right? Like my first commander, my business partner, now trying to give me the liver. Like, there's good people out there, y'all, and we're sitting there, and this doctor walks in, and they're like, "We don't know how to tell you this, dude, but your liver's working." And at that point, like, I almost kind of thought they were bullshitting. I done convinced myself that I was going to die, to the point that I thought they were lying about that. And so anyway, like, we're getting past that, and I'm like, okay, holy shit, like, they're taking tubes out of my body, like, I can fucking move, like, it was awesome. And so it turned out that, like, this miserable 12 weeks worth of, like, just agony and, like, preparing myself to die, dude, like, turned out to be the only reason that I get my kids every other weekend and weeknights, and they have their own bedroom in my house, Your story is somebody else's survival guide, man, and if you don't tell it, that person may die, right? That's how serious it is. That's that target consequence thing. Like, somebody may die if I don't tell the story, And so that's the reason I do it.